Hi guys, how you doing? Are you well? Thanks for tuning in once again. And as you've probably noticed, or if you can notice, I don't know if the camera can see the angle, I'm no longer on the BMW GS Adventure. She's gone. I've sold her. So I thought I'd just stick up a quick update video as to why I got rid of the bike of my dreams, the BMW R1200 GS Adventure water cooled, and bought my current monster. So as some of you may know, I had a bit of a break from biking. Went to buy a BMW GS. It was too big, I felt, after a 7-year break, so ended up with an MT09. Had that for about 4 or 5 months, and then once I'd kind of found me bike legs again, then I went and got the GS, and it was a real beauty. Had all the luggage on it, all the additional equipment that you could possibly want on a 16 plate, and very happy with it, with a couple of minor niggles which become more of a problem as time went on. So my initial minor niggle was this fork stanchion recall, which just felt it had been poorly handled by BMW. You know, no, there's no problem. No, there's no problem. Yes, there is a problem, but we're not going to do anything about it. Yes, there is a problem. We will do something about it as soon as we get the parts to the dealer. And you know, no parts to the dealer. It took forever and ever. Anyway, that wouldn't have put me off. You know, it was a minor niggle. The bigger problem I had was its size. Now I know what you're going to say. It didn't grow, so it was as big as the day that I bought it. But there was a few things I didn't take into account when I first bought the machine. So the major thing was manoeuvring it out of the garage to take her out for a ride. Now I don't use my bikes for commuting, they're just for fun. I know why you're thinking, why is he stuck behind that van and has a wish round him, but this is a particularly dangerous road. The roads are still a bit damp, I don't know if you can see, and we're losing light, and I don't want to take unnecessary risks. Anywho, yeah, so it was getting it out, so I use my bikes for fun. That's what they're for. I bought the GS because I had dreams of sort of touring, a bit of long distance stuff, which I really thought I would have enjoyed. So however, one of the issues I found was, because of the width of the bike, even without panniers, this was the process for me taking bike for a ride. Right, decided to take bike for a ride, yes. Move my car off to drive and park it into the street. Move the wife's car off to drive, park it into the street. Move bike out, park it in the street. Move cars back on drive. Go for a ride, repeat in reverse. So literally I was finding myself going, oh, I've got a quick hour, I'm going to nip out on the bike. Oh, actually I've got probably 20 minutes of fannying about with the cars. Oh, I can't be bothered, I won't bother. Which kind of defeated the object of owning the bike completely. So that kind of that pushed me over the edge really. And I was driving along one day, drove past the Kawasaki dealer. Now I've had a couple of quackies before, and last one was a ZX6, which was a great bike, albeit it was an old one, an old W plate one. I just thought, went in for a nose around really, and on the plinth in the showroom was the Kawasaki Z1000SX, which I thought, oh, I'd really like to look at that. Looks aggressive in the Kawasaki green. Love the colour. So I thought I'd have a little sit on, and yeah, relatively upright riding position. Excuse me. But a little bit forward, but not much, not much at all. Adjustable screen. I bought the touring edition, so I got the luggage as well. Just a cracking bike. So anyway, sold me Beamer. That went in a heartbeat. Went off to the Netherlands, I believe. Someone in the Netherlands bought it. Just a shipping agent come and collected it. And off it went. So off I went on my birthday, like an excited child, to buy this particular machine, which is in the Kawasaki Candy Lime Green. It's a brand new bike, and as I speak to you now, I'm on my way back from its first service. Just rolled over the 600 miles, and I didn't put a video up before because I kind of wanted to get the first service out of the way, just to really give me a bit of time to initially work out what I like about the bike, what I dislike about the bike, what I'm going to change, what I've added on, all that kind of stuff. So first of all, overall, much cheaper than the BMW, so bonus. In my eyes, no lesser of a build quality. It's very well built indeed. Things I like: adjustable screen, does a really good job at keeping a majority of the wind and cold off you, like that. It's a bit wider than the VFR 800, which was the other possible bike I looked at. I like that. It feels a bit more not old school, but a bit more like you got something between your legs. The VFR with that new you know, tilted engine and the VTEC system, and they've moved the can on the side, it makes it really skinny bike, and it felt skinny. So this just feels like it's got a bit more to it. The power delivery is stunning, absolutely as smooth as silk, and just never ending. Really punchy machine, really beautifully smooth. I think 140 brakes, something like that, more than enough, more than I would ever need. But yeah, really lovely. But the piece of the resistance is the gearbox. The gearbox is awesome. I've been reliably informed that the gearbox hasn't really changed for a couple of generations. They hit upon a real sweet nut in the first one. They've made a few improvements, which has basically made it just as smooth as silk. And coming from the BMW, and even with the later gearbox on it, which wasn't so agricultural as the previous, this is like, it's positive to get into gear, but it's as smooth as silk. It's like a big old bucket of toffee. It's lovely. So yeah, so that's kind of overall things I'm not so keen on. What am I not keen on? I'd struggle with 5 things. I know the videos is like, you know, 5 things you don't particularly like. Things I would change, probably the factory fit exhaust. I actually quite like the look of it, but they're Euro 4 compliant, these machines. So it's got a big old heavy cat on the bottom. It's got these 2 monster exhaust cans on it, which look like you know, Optimus Prime's arms. And although I don't particularly want it super loud, because I intend to do a bit more mileage on this one, you know, use it for touring, and the really loud rattle, the Acroprovic I had on the BMW was, even with baffles in, was a bit too much really over a really long run. It really kind of, you know, bored into your ears. Fit the tank bag. So this is the tank bag. It's a Givey quick lock tank bag. I think it's an XS308. It's a 20 litre one. On the bottom of the tank bags there's kind of a bracket that you can move backwards and forwards in order to give you a bit more room, and yeah, it's fine. It kind of touches my chest, but not uncomfortably, and in fact if you're a bit fatigued, it's something quite nice to kind of lean against. Really like the dash. Lots of people, I did a bit of research before I brought it, were moaning that the dash couldn't really be seen in really bright lights. I've not had an issue, to be honest. No issue at all. I don't know whether it's because I've got an AGV K5 helmet with the sun visor. Maybe that's just the tone of the visor is perfect for those sunny days and seeing the instrument panel, but you know, it's absolutely perfect. I love the mirrors. The mirrors are stunning. I think they're the first motorcycle mirrors I've ever had where you can see behind you, and you can see behind you at speed. They're not rattling about all over the place, so you everything is a blur behind you. I've added as well the Oxford multi-stage heated grips, only because I'm a bit of an old man and a wuss, and when it's a bit chilly I like to have warm fingers, and they work an absolute treat, and the dealer who put them on has done a nice job. It's really tidy. And then It comes with a sat-nav mount, the touring version, as well as the pannier bags. But I kind of I'm denied about buying a sort of a TomTom rider. I think 450 is a new one. They're kind of 350 notes. Just seemed like a lot of dough for a sat-nav unit. I've recently upgraded my phone to one of these Samsung S8 Pluses, which are waterproof. So I'm trialling using a RAM mount, and you definitely got to be able to see this on the camera, a RAM mount, which I put my Samsung in, and it seems to do an absolutely perfect job. So we'll see how we get on with that. I might get annoyed with it, you know, it's a bit fiddly putting the little rubber strap on to hold it in, but to be honest, if I'm using a sat nav, it's generally because I'm doing distance. If I'm doing distance, I'm not off and on the bike every 5 minutes. And also had a 12 volt standard power socket fitted, not the Kawasaki one because they wanted 150 quid for it, but an Oxford one, which the guy showed me in the shop is pretty much identical, and it was like 50 quid. So yeah, that's the bike so far. Like I say, I've only really done 600 miles, so I can't give you a really good overall sort of rundown on what it's like on a, you know, really long tour or anything like that. But I'm planning on going down to the or going over even to the NEC bike show this weekend. So that's sort of a 3-hour ride from where I am, depending on what the weather's like. So I'll have a bit more of a run then. But however, one thing I have noticed, what a lot of the reviews said, and seems to be true if I'm honest, is the seat is a little bit hard for what is a sports touring machine. I understand that this is a 2017 model. I didn't want to hold out for the 18 models because I didn't like the grey and green. I like the kind of the black and green that this one is, and I managed to find one at a dealer. Yet more problems with dealers than I had before. Got a decent deal on it, obviously being this year's but last year's colours, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so I got the colour I want as well. But would you bloody believe it, the day I got it home, dropped one of my gloves on the floor. I bent down to pick it up and my open visor of my helmet caught the tank and just put a tiny little chip in the tank. And I'm one of these people that likes everything absolutely pristine and perfect, and that it's too small to use a touch-up on. That's how small it is, but it's big enough for me to see, so that's winding me up no end. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at the minute. I bought an ABBA Superbike stand for it, because I got rid of the paddock stands when I bought the GS, because it had the centre stand and it was just taking up room in the garage. And yeah, I'm getting on with okay with that at the moment. But I will give you a bit more of a review the more and more I do with it. But yeah, just wanted to give you an update. I'll throw up some photos at the end of this that I've taken before, where it ain't so bloody dark and miserable, albeit, praise the Lord, it's not rained, so gotta be grateful with that. Oh, one more thing that I've just remembered, which is bloody awesome on this, are the headlights. So previous versions of this had a kind of a standard headlight. This has got like an LED high intensity unit, and it's bloody fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, and the preload adjuster on the rear, not that I've played with it as much yet, but do you know what, for the money you get a lot of bike, like a ton of bike, and I can see why this remains one of Kawasaki's best-selling models, and I'm sure it will continue to do so, albeit I've just seen the supercharged one being released at the bike show, so might have a note around that. But look, thanks for tuning in, guys, and yeah, if you've got any questions, then please let us know, and hopefully this is informative as far as sort of an overview of the bike is concerned. If you're thinking about buying one, you no need to think really. I've not come across anything that I'm a little bit disappointed about, apart from the tiny chip in the tank, of course. They're just a really cracking machine, and I'm getting about 170 miles a tank out of it, so can't moan at that either. But look, thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Cheers guys, see you later, bye.